Hello, Alia, can you hear me? So like I told you, the solution to run your code without error so far, what I have done is that I installed venv, which is a virtual environment, and I started to install the packages one by one. And even I tried to replicate also the method that I have tried. So that I mean it can be straightforward to you. The point here is that certain things here actually you will face. So I gathered the requirement in a text file, and that will give you all the packages version numbers. Okay, but basically the most important thing, even before you install the virtual environment, that you have to use Python 3.7. So if you use 3.11 like the one that you showed to me, it will not work. And do you know what is the purpose of a virtual environment?
No.
So there is, with new versions that come out every day, there will be not all the versions of the libraries that you will be using will be up to date. So if the Python come up with 3.11, there are certain things that will make conflicts with other libraries. So the problem is certain libraries will work with certain versions of Python. So again, when you install any normal IDE for Python, it will install the latest one, most probably, which is 3.11. It's the same like my machine. So what I did is that when I try to run with 3.11, I end up having a lot of conflicts and issues. And so I reverted back to 3.11. And when I have done that, actually, of course, I inspected your error first. And then I found that the most stable version that people say that work with most of the required libraries is 3.7 and 3.8. Okay, so I stick to 3.7 because I already have a version of it of one of my computers, so I use it, and then it seems that it works. Okay, but again, it's not a straightforward procedure, so there will be some tricks here and then that I will explain to you. But the first step that you need to do is that you install a version of 3.7 on your computer, and from there we create a virtual machine, because again there is no guarantee that the codes that will be running with 3.11 will run with 3.7. So we have to install all our certain libraries with inside a virtual closed environment that only work with 3.7. So it means that if you have a code that is running 3.11, it should still work, okay? Because we will be installing all the libraries that is compatible with 3.7 in a virtual environment. It means that it's an isolated environment that only run certain codes that we want to, okay? So we can activate this virtual environment, or we can deactivate it. It's our choice, okay? So you didn't hear before, yeah, you already said to me that you didn't hear before about virtual environment. So actually it is it's not so complicated. It's just a few commands only that you need to learn how to use to activate the virtual environment. And once you are done, then you will proceed like installing packages and libraries, same like when you're installing in the normal condition in Python. Like you use always pip.
Yep.
Okay, so the same you will do with the virtual environment, except that you have to activate the virtual environment first before you start installing the files. Let me see here if I already put a command here about installing the virtual environment. So let me see here. Okay, yeah. So as you can see from my screen, so this is the way that you can install a virtual environment. So with this command, you will install the virtual environment. Once you install it, then you start to name a virtual environment that you want to proceed with the testing. So this is the name of the virtual environment. In my case, I call it alia._venv. but you can call it any names that you want. The point here is that okay, you can create countless virtual environment as you wish, all with a different setting and with different libraries as you wish. So after you create a virtual environment under the name Python 38_venv, then you start to activate it. But here they're using the Linux syntax. So actually, you just need to navigate to the place where you have this script, and then you call activate. So let me just share with you, and let me share with you exactly how this works. So you can see my screen now, right?
Yep.
Okay. So at the moment, if you can see here, this is a sign that I already running in a virtual environment. So it's called alia_venv. I already highlighting it with my pencil. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this case, I would say, let me see here. Deactivate. So I will deactivate it first. And I will say, I will go one more step here. So if I put directory, so I will be able to see all the virtual environments. So I just put them in a folder, gather them in a folder. So this is the virtual environment that I have in place. I gather them in one place. So to be able to activate one of them, I then have to use the CD and navigate to one of them, and then I have to go to, so if I make directory, I will see that I have many folders here, but I only need to care about one folder, which is called scripts. Where is the scripts? Yeah, scripts is here. Okay, so I will go to scripts, so CD scripts, like that, and then I will say activate. So once I say activate, you will notice that here start to be different. It's showing me a different. So before every prompt that I see, it will always show me alia_venv. I can go to OpenCV or I can go to any other virtual environment. It also will show me the name of the virtual environment that I am running. So I used OpenCV at the start to the start of my trials to solve your issue, and but again, I tried to replicate again the steps that I have done to make sure that I didn't do something that I didn't put in the slides. So I tried to gather all the problems that I faced, and then I will inform you one by one. So again, the first thing is that I create a virtual environment like I'm telling you, and I already show you the command. I can create a virtual environment in front of you, and we can go through the steps one by one again, but that's up to you. But I care more to give you an overview of everything, and then if you have questions, then we can go to it one by one. I also do slight changes in your code, and I still have some comments also on your code. But again, so let me go through everything, but stop me if you have a question. Okay?
Okay.
Is that fine to you?
Yeah, totally fine.
Okay. So again, what I did in the start before I created in that virtual environment, or before I even install anything in the libraries. So again, here, as you see, I created a requirement file here. I divided them by 2 because certain requirement library you need to install manually. So that one is here. Let me share with you, is called D library. So let me see here. Let me see here. Sorry. Yeah. So no, not this one. Let me see if I already put it here. Yeah. this one. So this D library is actually, so if you try to install the OpenCV, it will automatically install one of the versions of D library, which will not work, and it will create an error. So I already downloaded that version that I'm highlighting to you, and then you have to install it manually. So how did I install it? So I go, let me see if we're able to see it here. Maybe so if you see in the code here, if I make directory, so then you will see I created a folder called D library, and I installed, I already downloaded the file here. So I just need to say pip install, and then I put the library name, then it will install it for me. Okay, and so that is one of the things that you have to run again, because that version only runs with Python 3.7. So again, yeah, it's quite a collection of environments that of libraries that need to be compatible with each other to be able to run. And let me share again here. So one of the issues also that you will run through when you are installing in the method that I'm explaining to you is that the version that they will install automatically for you for the URL library 3, it will be 1.3 if I'm not mistaken, and or even version, sorry, it's version 2.0. It's like here. So, and it will, when you start to run your code, it will tell you, oh, we only support OpenSSL with this version. Okay. So again, to be able to run correctly, then you have to run this command. So you don't, how to say, downgrade the version of from 2.0 to 1.26.6. Okay. If you feel that this is confusing, then I would say that I can install a new virtual environment in front of you, and we can run the code. I can tell you, I can replicate all the steps in front of you.
The way
If you
the way to downgrade it is to uninstall first, then install,
no
right?
no, you would not, you don't need to do any uninstallation. Once you run this command, it will replace the 2.0 with that version.
Okay.
Okay. So actually, if I even because I run that in the morning, so I even can share with you how I did. Oh no, that is, sorry. I ran many things in here that I'm not able to share. No, I'm not able to share how I install. So again, this is totally up to you. If you want me to try to install a new version from a new virtual environment, and we can try step by step, then yes, we can do that. So what I did, again, sorry.
Okay, it's okay. I think like I do understand that part.
Okay, so what I will do is that again, I will pass you the slides, and I will pass you also the requirement files. I will pass you the virtual environment. I can explain to you how even you can change the virtual environment files that I can pass to you. So the virtual environment folder, it have certain files that refers to the place of a Python in my that is installed in my computer. So I manually able to change that to point to any directory in your computer. So I know the files where you need to change that. So so this means that I actually personally copied one of the virtual environment for one of my computers to my current laptop to be able to show it to you. So there is certain configuration files that can point to the home directory in your current laptop, and it can point to the current 3.7 Python installation on your laptop. So you just need to also configure that if you want me to just pass you the virtual environment like it is now. So if I pass it to you, maybe then you don't need to install any libraries. You just need to make sure that it runs on your computer. It need to point to your Python files, and then it will run. You don't need to install anything. So I created two versions of. No, let me first share with you before I go to that point. So here, if you can see that command, so when I created a virtual environment, to be able to collect all the packages and libraries that I already installed, I need to run that command. And based on that command, it will actually collect all the library versions and then gather it to me in a requirement.txt. So if I want to install, so if I open or I create a new virtual environment, then I would need to go to this, to install everything in the requirement.txt. But again, the things here is slightly tricky in a way that you cannot run it in one requirement file. So I divided that into two files.
Sorry, I think like you didn't share the screen yet. That the
oh.
one that you are the screen.
Oh, really? So you cannot see my screen?
Yeah, I think that you share another one.
What about now?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So like I'm telling you here, this command is the one that is used to create the requirement.txt. So it will collect all the libraries that I installed on the virtual environment, and it will put it here in the text in the requirement.txt. And to be able to install that whatever libraries that I collected here in the requirement.txt, I have to run that command. So pipe install -r requirement.txt. Again, like I told you, I divide that file into two files. Of course, I will pass them to you. So I kept one as it is, and then I make another one with version 2. So I call it requirement 2. The reason for that you will face when you run that requirement, certain libraries they will install based on the version that they see, and they start to compile it they start to make how to say building dependency based on the version that they see from their own, and that will not work. So it will create an error for you. So again, once that happens, then you have to do two things, which is you have to install this manually, and you have to install the D library manually. This is the D library, like I told you before. So you just have to install it using that command. Okay, and if you resume running the file that stopped with an error, then it will run without an issue. So if you have a time, then I think maybe I can give it a try for you. We can run a totally virtual environment from scratch. That's one thing. Let me share also one thing about the code here. So I tested your code actually in two versions. One is that I passed an image, and the second one I make it run from this webcam stream. Okay, so first, because I wanted to get more information, so I used an image first. So with an image, I'm able to control how many faces inside the image, and so first of all, I would say the first change that I have done is that, especially when I'm running with an image, I actually created two extra functions. So let me see if I should explain this first. Let me see. First, do you have any questions before I proceed?
No, I have no question.
Yeah, please tell me.
No. Please proceed. I don't have yet.
Okay. Okay. So let me see here if I have. So actually, I have tried before to create applications that that is used to detect facial requirements or facial to detect facial features on the face. Okay, so but that was for the pilgrims who are going to Hajj, and so that was part of the competition, and the point was here that we get the name. So in your case, you just assign customer 1, customer 2, like in your program. But in our case, we tied the code to something different. So we have virtual, not virtual, it's real-time smart watches, and that is every watch is have like a kind unique ID that identify a certain person. So we wanted that every person who are wearing a smart glass, and they are able to use the OpenCV library to be able to detect people facially and get information about these specific people. So based on the facial recognition, then they will retrieve information about the health of the person. But of course, to be able to do that, we do things slightly different from yours. We have to train. We have to train our code based on the faces of people. So we have to provide 3 or 4 pictures for every person and train the model on it. And so because again, you can never know what the person is wearing or what kind of changes happen in his face. So we needed to train the model on that, and based on that, he can tell, okay, this person is Joe, or this person is Alia, or this person is maybe Chi, or whatever name. So and yes, and then he used that information to query a database to be able to retrieve all his information, like heartbeat and other information, oxygen level, and so on. So that week, what I tried, like I think 3 or 4 years before. But of course, in your case, it's a different story. In your case, what you are trying to do is that you are only assigning names like customer 1, customer 2, and so on, right?
Yeah.
So I tried to make some advancement a bit. Okay, so again, you're able to read an image and then get a face from it, get the face portion of that image, and then make an encoding for that same using that function. Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you use that function, then you get an encoding for the face, and you're able to save that encoding in a PKL file. Okay, so what I did, that I changed your code in a way that we are able to, first, every face that we recognize, we get inside your code. You already do that. You get a face encoding for that face. So I get that encoding and save it in a PKL file. And then when I start running the code again from scratch, then I will be able to remember all the faces that I recognized in a previous runs. So if I run before and then I detected 3 or 4 faces, I will save them. But in that case, in the current case that we are doing, so it will save it customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, unless you provide the different names for that. So if you provide different names, when he reads the PKL file, then he will save the name of the PKL file, and then he will be able to put it for you on the screen. So that happens actually. So again, here, this is a function responsible for saving the face encoding. So I pass it the face encoding, and I pass it a file name, and then it will dump it to this function, and it will save that with the name that I specify to a PKL file version. And then when before I start to run the code again and will load every face encoding that I already saved in my folder. So that I do here in this for loop. So let me see here. Yeah, here. So I read every known encoding, and I load them one by one, and I append them in the known face encoding array. And then, of course, this is the array that I'm going to pass to your to find the matches in your code. Let me see here. I think you already put it somewhere here. Yeah, it's here. So that will bring up the matches, and based on that, I'm able to find the name of the person. So again, like I told you, I changed your code a bit. I make a version that run with a webcam, and I make also a version that runs with let me see, run with the pictures. So with the pictures, because I use the pictures of Elon Musk and the Bill Gates. So, and I already created the PKL files. Let me share with you here. I hopefully I'm able to share this here. So can you see my screen now? Not yet, I believe.
Yeah, can.
Okay. So this is a folder, and that I am saving all the PKL files. And before starting to go through the while loop in your code, then I will load every PKL file here. So certain PKL files, it will be named like customer 1, customer 2, if there is no name. If there is no name that we have here saved, but if we have name like Elon Musk or even Gates, then it will detect the name and it will show it on the screen. So that is for the known names. If it's the name is not known, then it will create based on your code customer 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then if you save PKL of a certain customer, then it will retain it for you once you run again. So let me share with you. So let me see here. I think, yeah. Yeah, so this code here is the one that Alia track is the one that I use an image. So if we run it at the moment, then I'm able to. So let me see here. PY track, I think track. So here I'm reading all the PKL files here one by one, and then I am saving them in an array, and then I am also getting all the names, and I'm creating an array for it. I think similar to something that you have done. I think, yeah. So if you look here, can you see the screen?
Wait, I think I cannot see your screen.
Oh no, sorry, that's bad. Okay, what about now?
Yeah, okay.
So I created here is actually getting the names out. So Alia, I'm sorry, we have to close now, and you have to open the same link again, okay?
Okay.
To continue the session, okay? Okay, bye-bye.